Hey guys, so today we're going to take a look at one of my favorite types of art, or of drawing, which is linear perspective, and how to make things look like they go back into space. Perspective, and we've talked about depth before in some of our classes. Perspective is a part of depth. What it does is just kind of show you, or it's a mathematical way of making things look like they continue further back into the page than they actually do, or creating depth. So first thing we're going to do, as with any linear perspective picture, we're going to take our pencil and add what's called a vanishing point. It's just a dot somewhere on your page. It can be in the middle, but doesn't have to be. From there, we're going to create what's called a horizon line by drawing a horizontal straight line through our vanishing point across the page. Now, for this project, we're actually creating an illusion for our perspective drawing. So how we're going to do that is this. And remember, a ruler is fine too. I like to use a straight edge paper because you don't always have a ruler on hand. So what you're going to do is this. You're going to create diagonal lines that go through the vanishing point from one end of the page to the other. So best way to do that, just make sure each line you create actually goes through your vanishing point. And make sure you make several. And make sure you're always lining your ruler up so that they actually connect all the way through your vanishing point. Now you'll notice my ruler, or straight edge that I'm using, isn't necessarily going to go all the way from one end of my paper to the other when it's diagonal. So I may have to do what I'm doing here, which is lining one side up with the vanishing point and going out, and then moving it over to finish that line on the other side. All right, now I like to do just enough so that I don't have any triangle shapes here that are too wide. So last one we're going to do right here. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this is already creating the illusion that it goes back to a vanishing point, or to that back space. We're going to continue that illusion by creating some curved lines along our space. And I'm going to do, starting in the middle, I'm going to make those lines connect. So a curved line between each of my triangles that kind of looks like a web, a spider's web. And the next ones I'm going to place a little further out, like so. And I'll continue those going a little further out until I run out of room at the edge of the page. It is important to make sure they line back up where you start by the time they go to the outside. Now, as you're doing this, you're going to start to notice it does help increase that effect, that illusion of perspective, because those curved lines are getting further and further away from the vanishing point. You're providing more and more space as you go out. What helps to also create that illusion of perspective is the fact that some of them are going to start to run off the page, as you see here. So on this side, my next set of curved lines is actually only going to be in part of my triangles because I've run out of space. And we'll do one final one right in here. All right, so you should have what really looks like a nice spider web shape, looking like the inside of the spider web starts at your vanishing point, and everything else is slowly getting larger. Now, to really increase that 3D effect and the illusion of depth, we're going to do some coloring. You're going to need a white colored pencil, a dark or black colored pencil, and just a color of your choice for each part. Now, if you do not have a black colored pencil, you can always use a color and just white and just make the color darker with pressure. The other option you have if you don't have colored pencils is just to use a regular pencil. It doesn't look like I have a black in this set. I don't know where that went. So we're going to try with just color. Okay, so white with colored pencils is not used to make things lighter. Instead, what it's used for is blending. So I'm going to start with just one area here, and I'm going to color the inside very lightly, just like we worked on last time. Making kind of a light area in the center. And then going to increasingly get a little darker as it gets closer to the outside. Making those outside edges fairly dark to create shadows. And the effect that we're trying to create here, and what should start to happen, is it should start to look like each of these rounded areas of your triangles look like they pop out into space, so that the areas between the triangles really look like they connect and the other part comes up to make almost tubes instead of just regular triangles or cylinders. Should create a nice cylinder effect for us. All right, so once I've gotten the dark areas on the sides, I've got my medium areas, and then now the light area right in the center. Next step to really blend it in is to use my white over the top. And if you notice, it is already starting to blend that color together. So it really covers up the paper nicely and just creates a really nice, smooth area here. Now you can choose to make a color pattern. You can choose to do random, just any colors you want. It's really up to you. But that is basically how we create the illusion of depth and a 3D effect using shading. Now, I would continue to do this all the way throughout the screen. Go ahead, try it out, see what you get. And guys, good luck with this. If you are interested in learning more about linear perspective, I would suggest you looking at Renaissance artists like Leonardo da Vinci, and just really see what you can come up with and what you can find on linear perspective. It's pretty interesting stuff. All right, guys, have fun creating today.